Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy Yankee Dewey. Welcome to the channel. All right guys, so today is a very exciting video because I'm excited to show you guys my brand new 2019 Mustang GT. Now for today's video, we're just gonna do a little bit of an overview of the car, go over things like how I spec'd it out, how I optioned it, to give you my initial thoughts, my initial impressions of the car. Yes, it should be a properly exciting day for sure. You who are wondering if I have kept my 2016 Mustang GT, well, the answer is yes. So as you can see, we still have the Fox Body GT350, and there she is, Old Faithful herself, 2016 GT. Now obviously I cannot wait to compare the new 2019 with my modified 2016. It's certainly going to be a very interesting comparison. I'm going to try my best though today not to compare the two cars, because I'm going to tell you right now it's going to be very difficult for me not to. I just want to talk about the 2019. I want to talk about it specifically, and I don't want to bring this car into the mix. Now I do plan on keeping the car for a while. I do not know if I'm going to be selling it or not just yet. So guys, it's still going to be here, still going to do videos with it, so that should all be very exciting. All right, so without further ado, let's hop in and let's talk about this thing. All right, so let's go over the specifications real quick. Now my 2019 GT is coated in the beautiful Kona blue, and I decided to go with a 10-speed automatic. Now the car is optioned out with the 401A package, which includes many things such as that beautiful 12-inch LCD instrument cluster display, the heated and cooled seats, premium trim upholstery points, blind spot monitoring, memory driver's seat. Now you guys know me, I of course had to get optioned out with the performance package, which gives us those great Michelin PS4S tires, 255 in the front, 275 in the rear. Of course we get the 6-piston Brembos up front, and of course we get the gauge pack with our oil pressure and vacuum pressure readouts, heavy duty front springs, K-brace, larger radiator, the performance wing, torsion 355 differential, unique stability control and ABS tuning. Now I am happy to say as well that I chose the active exhaust system. Now if you guys haven't known about this feature, 2019 Mustangs can come optioned out with an active exhaust, so you can set the exhaust tone to pretty much anything you want, quiet all the way up to track. And finally, last but not least, I got the beautiful sounding B&O premium audio system by Harman. With all those options included, the MSRP of the vehicle was $49,930. And I have to say that I got the car for an amazing deal. Now I'm happy to share that on 2019s, you can still get some really awesome deals. I paid just a little over $45,000 for it. And for that kind of money, this is an absolutely wonderful car. Alright guys, so as we're sitting here, let's take a look at this awesome 12-inch display. Now this is probably one of the biggest reasons why I bought this car, besides the 10-speed automatic. But let's just quickly run through the modes here. So simply, if you want to go through your different modes, you're going to hit the mode toggle switch right here. So as you can clearly see right now, this is just the normal mode. We have the tachometer, we have the speedo, we have all our kind of nice information. The gauge that I have right dead center is the transmission temperature, and that's customizable. You can put any sorts of gauges you want, so that's really fantastic. I love that feature. So let's go ahead and let's switch through the modes real quick. So as we see, we have normal and we have sport, and then if we hit it again, we get track. Now it's going to always say this for track use only. Yeah, okay. And there we go, it goes away. Now this mode right here, I'm very interested in. Like my other Mustang GT, yes, I will be taking this on the track. I really like the fact that the tachometer is nice and big right up at the top where I can see it. My miles per hour is still there, obviously. Don't really care too much though about miles per hour on the track, so I like it kind of just off to the side like that. I think that's great, and very critically important, especially for this car here, since we do have the 10R80 transmission. It's nice to be able to see the transmission temperature. That's always a risk on track whenever you're running an automatic transmission. I mean really any transmission, but especially an automatic, you do really want to keep an eye on the temperature, so it's perfect that you can customize the gauges. And then if we hit it again, we have a drag strip mode, which I think the drag strip mode is pretty similar in look to the track. Double tap again, we have our wet snow, double tap again, and we're right back to normal. Now if we come down here to the pony button there, we press that, and as you can see there, we have all of our options. We have my mode. Now this car is equipped with the active exhaust. So here's our different exhaust. We have quiet, we have normal, we have sport, and we have track. track apps, this is pretty similar to any other Mustang. You're going to have your acceleration timer, brake performance, your line lock, and your lap timer. And then if you go down here, you can customize your gauges. So configure gauges, and you guys know I already said I had the trans oil temperature on. So let's just say if you wanted, let's say we want to put inlet temperature, and we can go back. And boom, there we go. So honestly, here in our center stack, this car, we did get the infotainment system with the voice activated navigation, as well as all the other goodies. We have the heated and cooled seats. We have the dual zone climate control. Now over here for the buttons, we have the stop start. This one's your hazards. This one here is for the traction control. This one here is just for your steering mode. So as you can see, the comfort, we have normal, and then of course we have sport. I just personally just leave it in comfort. It's pretty nice just for the street. And then of course the toggle switch over here at the far right, that's again gonna just go ahead and switch your gauge cluster. Now one thing I should say, when you're going and switching between these modes here, not only is it just a digital change, I mean not only is your screen just gonna change, but as you can see, I think you guys can notice right there, the traction control's been turned off in track mode. Now I'm not sure if that's like totally off, or if it's just like it just takes away some of the nannies, or what it is. But as we can see here as we go through, so as you go between different modes, basically the car gets more hardcore. Probably has a lot to do with the transmission. Probably holds the shifts longer, has a different shift pattern, stuff like that, to really amp up the performance. Now here on the wheel, we pretty much have just the basic stuff. We have our audio controls here. We have also our voice activated controls and navigation menu buttons here. Down here we have our cruise control settings, and here we have different options, our phone, our nav, music, and then of course you guys know the Mustang button there goes ahead and brings up that option screen. Now this Mustang is equipped with the 12 speaker sound system, and I'm just going to say this, this B&O system is so much better than the shaker systems that came in the 15 through 17 Mustangs. It's going to be kind of hard to translate it, you know, through the microphone here, but guys, you just have to take my word for it. It's amazing. So here we are in the garage at night, and well, the purpose is I want to show you some of the features that you can only really see when it's dark out. Now first things first, let's go ahead and let's unlock, and as you can see, we have the nice Mustang logo right there on the ground, which is pretty kick-ass. As we go ahead and we kind of carefully open the door here, don't really want to hit, not a lot of room, but you guys can start to see some of the ambient lighting that we have going on in the car. There we have the Mustang door sill panel all nice and lit up. Of course, we have the little ambient lighting piece inside the door handle. And if we just move on in real quick and close our door, and if we go ahead, get everything started up, booted up. Now we're in accessory mode here, so let's take a look at some of the lighting options that we have. So I think you guys pretty much already guessed any of this little ambient lighting bits. We can actually go ahead and we can change our color through our digital gauge cluster here. Not only that, but I think you guys can see we also have ambient lighting down on the driver's side and passenger side floor. Now we can go ahead and we could change our lighting. I think we just go right in here to the My Mode system. Now guys, this is something that I really wanted to point out from before. Now you can kind of see the settings that we already currently have the car set to. So we have in a normal, we have our exhaust in normal, and we have our drive mode in comfort. Now one nice thing you can do is you can actually save this so that every time you start the car, it's going to start in any mode, any one of these modes that you have selected. So let's say if you always wanted it to start out in track, and you always wanted your steering to be normal or set to set to sport mode, you can simply do that. And guys, don't bother me about the check engine light. It's an accessory mode. The check engine light is always going to be on. All right, so let's see here. Let's go and let's change our lighting real quick. All right, so we would simply go into My Color, and we can set our primary colors, our secondary color. We can set our ambient lighting, and I think we'll just do that right now. And here you can have it set to either light, dim, and down here we have color. So here we can change the different colors, okay? We have ice blue, white, green, purple, blue. It's now set to orange. That's factory default. Red, and then of course I think we have these here which you can customize yourself. So I don't know, let's just go ahead and let's change it to blue real quick. And there we go. All right, look at that. Worked pretty nicely. Yeah. I like that. And then in some of the other settings, you know, you're just gonna have your typical stuff. Your advanced settings, you could set up the My Key system. You could do your display setup with all these different kinds of deals. Go into your vehicle information, and you can set, again, you can set all this stuff. This is oil life reset, your remote start, locks, etc, etc. Probably stuff you're just never really gonna touch. Okay, hold to save to my mode. No, I don't want to save those settings. All right, guys, well, I hope that gives you kind of an idea of some of the things that you could do with this system. There's quite a bit more, but you know, I'm really not gonna go too much in depth into it. I think you guys pretty much get the idea. Now, one thing I want to say before we get on to the driving impressions of this vehicle, I just want to say something to the build quality of this vehicle. Now, Mustangs in the past have kind of gotten this little bit of a bad rap for some fitment panel issues and some sharp plastics on the interior. Now, my 2016 car did suffer from, you know, a little bit of a panel, you know, pop here or a panel gap there, but it really wasn't anything too bad. But I'm happy to report with this 2019, I was very hard pressed to find anything wrong. In fact, I dare anyone to come look at the car and find any sort of misaligned gaps or popped panels. Everything seems to fit together really, really nicely, and I'm really happy for that. The overall interior of the car is also very nice too. Definitely Ford has kind of upped the game. They've put more stitching. They've put some more softer materials for these 18 and 19 cars. So I really, really appreciate that. But are there some kind of sharp, jagged pieces of plastic here and there? Yeah, there is, but honestly, they're pretty much in out-of-the-way places that you're normally not really going to touch anyway. So overall, I have to say the fit, finish, and build quality, at least in my car anyways, is very, very good, and I'm very happy. Alright everyone, so probably the moment you've all been waiting for, the driving impressions. And yes, I do have quite a bit to say about this car, and again, like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm not going to try and compare this to my 2016 GT. I'm going to try and stay away from that. I'm just going to give an objective, honest opinion about my first impressions and just kind of overall driving experience with this car so far. Now, of course, the big star of the show is, of course, that 5-liter third-generation Coyote V8 sitting under the hood, which starting in 2018, it's good for 460 horsepower at 7,000 RPM and a total of 420 foot-pounds of torque at 4,600 RPM. Now, this can either be mated to the MT82 6-speed manual or, of course, that fantastic 10-speed automatic. Now, to give you an idea just how much faster the automatic is over the manual, I'll read this little bit from Motor Trend magazine. Quote, the launch performance can be measured from 0 to 30 times, and these are typically comparable, but this time we knew something was up. 1.9 seconds to 30 for the M6, which is of course the manual, and 1.7 seconds for the 10-speed automatic. That's 0.2 of a second difference out of the gate. By 50 miles per hour, the 10-speed was already 0.4 ahead. At 60 miles an hour, 0.5, and at 70, 0.6. And at 100 miles an hour, the automatic was full second ahead of the manual. At the end of the quarter mile, the M6 was in 4th gear, and the 10-speed automatic was in 6th gear. And the M6 managed to claw back some time with a 12.6 second pass at 115 miles per hour versus the 10-speed automatic 12.1 second at 118. End quote. Now, I understand that some of you may be thinking, well, okay, fine, you know what, it may be a little faster, but where's the joy, where's the experience of actually driving, of actually shifting the car yourself? And to those people, I say, yes, I totally agree with you. You know, you do lose a little bit of the raw experience in that, and I totally understand that. Now, in my short drive, the transmission generally was always pretty much in the right gear. I put it into Sport Plus. I didn't want to raise the RPMs too much because I'm breaking in the car for the first 1,000 miles, so I can't really get on it. But just from driving it around, it always seems to be in the right gear. I think this is a very, very clever setup Ford has here, and I think for the track, it's going to do equally as well. I'll probably shift it myself. But other than that, I think it's a very smart, intelligent system. I kind of get a sense of that already, so I don't think there's really anything to worry about here. I don't think there's anything to be disappointed about. So just quickly, in summary, the third generation Coyote engine at 460 horsepower just feels fantastic. In fact, to me, it feels even more than 460 horsepower. I can't wait to get this thing up to redline at 7,400 RPM and see what it's really all about. And made it to the 10-speed transmission. I think it's just a combo package that just cannot be beat. It's so fast in its shifts, and the engine is so strong. It really does make for an intoxicating drive. Now let's quickly talk about that active exhaust for a second. Even in normal, it still sounds fantastic. And in the Sport Plus setting, obviously, it's even better. It almost seems like it's not a stock exhaust. It seems like something aftermarket. Now, like I said, I haven't really raised the RPMs above 3,000, and I certainly cannot wait to hear what the active exhaust sounds like. But I will say this, it's definitely an option worth getting. It's so much better than the 15 through 17 Mustangs, which just had a very muted exhaust straight from the factory. It was really one of the more disappointing aspects about those cars, but Ford just absolutely nailed it out of the park with this active exhaust. Alright, so let's quickly just talk about performance real quick. Now, since I didn't mention earlier, I think you guys probably know by now, I did skip out on one performance option, and that is the MagneRide suspension. I was almost going to get a car that did have the MagneRide, but then when I test drove it, I really felt it wasn't worth the extra $1,600. Since I will be taking this car on the racetrack, I felt as if I could do better in the aftermarket. Now, as you guys know, on my 2016 GT, I do have Ford Performance's track suspension, and I'm going to tell you right now, that suspension system is probably the one I'm going to be putting on this car as well. So on my quick test drive in the MagneRide dampeners, the one thing I will say is that I think it is obviously a bit more aggressive when you have it in its highest setting than even this kind of just standard performance pack car with its suspension. But I think it really is only worth the $1,600 if you are someone who just really wants to have that luxury of being able to toggle through your suspension modes and have a more comfortable ride. Maybe if you're traveling to work like in the city and you have to drive on the city streets, and then on your way home out through the suburbs and on the highway you want something maybe a bit more sporty. I mean, really, it's just up to personal preference, to be honest with you, but to me, again, like I said, it just really wasn't worth the extra money. So now let's talk about how this car handles with just the standard performance pack shock and springs. So overall, I have to say that it was pretty impressive. The steering feel, I will say, was a bit distant. That's about pretty much all I can say about that. But the drives through the corners was razor sharp, and it really handled the corners with pretty much zero drama. Now, granted, I wasn't pushing the car, obviously, but it certainly, as I said, felt very stable. It felt pinned to the road, which is great because I can already tell it's already planted enough that if you do take a tight turn, you could definitely have the confidence to pin the throttle aggressively out of the corners. But I also want to say, too, nor was the ride too firm or harsh. Obviously, since this is the performance pack and it's a fixed suspension system, obviously Ford is going to want to try and play a happy medium, right? They want to be able to give it performance because, well, that's what you paid for with the performance package, but you also don't want anything that's too jarring, this gets too uncomfortable. And again, I'll just say this, I think it blurs the line very well. It's a very all-around suspension setup. For me personally, as I already said before, I'll be changing it out. For me, the performance pack, for my personal preference, the suspension is just a little bit too wallowy for me. I don't feel like I'm really hunkered down, like the car's not hunkered down in on itself, on its own suspension. It just more or less to me feels kind of like it's riding on top of it, but it's not really that bad at all. And of course, those Michelin PS 4S tires are absolutely incredible. In fact, I plan to do a video review of those tires just separately on their own. They're definitely part and parcel to how this car performs, and I'm going to tell you right now, it plays a big role in that. And these are just fantastic tires. They're quiet, they have loads of grip, they're amazing. Alright, so I think it's about time I start closing out this review, but I want to say there's a lot of other things that I didn't even get around to covering. I mean, we didn't really get into the center stack infotainment system. Yes, I mentioned about the B&O Harman system, which sounds fantastic, but there's a whole bunch of other goodies in there that you could dive into and have fun with. I didn't go over the app on your phone, which you can use to start the car, lock the doors, unlock the doors, all that kind of good stuff. I just kind of wanted to touch on some of the high points about the car. I wanted to introduce you guys to it and show you exactly how I spec'd it out. Now guys, there's going to be a lot more videos to come on this car, and of course a lot more modifications. So guys, I'm really excited for this, and if you want to come along for the ride, please go ahead and make sure you subscribe. If you have anything else you want me to cover about the car, I'll gladly make a video about it. Maybe go over some of the features that I kind of missed, but I just really wanted to give an overall view of this car. So that being said, final thing, is there anything that I really dislike about it? Well, honestly, no, not yet. I mean, I wouldn't have bought the car if I would have known there would have been something that I absolutely hated about it. But, you know, we'll see how the ownership experience is. We'll see how it goes. Right now, I absolutely am in love with the car, and of course, we're trying to drive it as much as possible to get the break-in period over so that we can really start having fun with this thing. All right, guys, well, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you all for watching. I seriously appreciate it. Make sure to go ahead, too, and follow me over on my Instagram to see more gorgeous photos of this car. Guys, thank you all for watching. See you in the next one. Take it easy, guys.